despite 2 points separating top and bottom. Spurs fan Chris Cowlin is out in France for us. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Aaron. Nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, likewise, pal. Hope you're well. I saw your photos. You're looking good out in Marseille, pal. How are things? How's the atmosphere?
Atmosphere is good. Hopefully Spurs can get the 3 points in the Champions League tomorrow, get the job done, and go through to the last 16, which of course we all want. We know it's going to be a very, very difficult tie, but we've got to have real belief, and come and get the job done. It's going to be very difficult with Antonio Conte not in the technical area and not in the dressing room tomorrow evening. But as I say, we've got to have the belief to come here, be professional, get the job done, and go into the next round.
Chris, it's quite a place to go and get a result, isn't it? I mean, it's an amazing stadium. I've never been, but I've been looking at the photographs, and there will be a cauldron atmosphere that those Spurs players are going to have to deal with from the word go.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, the atmosphere has been electric with the Marseille fans today. I'm actually looking at the stadium as I talk to you. It is an incredible place. It's going to be a very difficult place to go. It was always going to be a very difficult game. But I'm so glad that Spurs got the 3 points against Bournemouth. We come back in the way that we did, showed real character, and hopefully that confidence from the weekend will take us into this game feeling like we can get the job done and get the 3 points. And we all know it's going to be difficult, but players like Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Hugo Lloris, they need to step up now, get the job done, because this game tomorrow means the world to Tottenham. And, we want to be playing in the next round of the Champions League. We certainly do not want Europa League football.
Chris, what do you make of the criticism that's been bestowed upon Antonio Conte and his side, and sort of the criticism of the style of football over the past few weeks?
I think it's very harsh. I think Antonio Conte is a serial winner. He's a world-class manager. I believe that if he's given the time, the patience and the money that he deserves, he will be extremely successful at Spurs. Aaron, you know how many times I've spoken to you about trophies, the lack of trophies at Spurs since 2008, our last one. I believe Antonio Conte is the man to direct this club in the right direction. He's taken us in the space of 1 year from Europa Conference League football back into the Champions League. To hear that Champions League music at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium again is simply incredible. But we've seen, in the January transfer window, we signed a couple of great players, Kulusevski and Bentancur, that transformed our season last season. In the summer, we made good additions again. In the January window this time and the summer window, if Antonio Conte is backed in the right way, then he will continue to take this club forward and hopefully deliver success, as I say.
What about I'm already looking towards the end of the season and asking what represents success for Spurs this season, because look, you're in this Champions League group. It's definitely on a knife edge, but yeah, what does represent success? Presumably, you do want some form of silverware.
Well, I think it's always about club direction and club ambition, and as I said. He's taken us from Europa Conference League football to Champions League. So if we played in the Champions League again, i.e. finishing in the top four at the end of this season, I believe that real success would be to put a trophy in the cabinet, because trophies are way, way overdue at Tottenham, our last one being 2008. So to win a trophy, even if it is just the League Cup, like a lot of people say, just the League Cup, it's a trophy at the end of the day. And, Liverpool, Manchester City, the big clubs normally win these trophies. It's about time that Spurs won one. So as a successful season, for me, it would be a trophy and to finish in the top four. It's got to be about direction and ambition. And I believe that the club are going in the right direction under Antonio Conte.
And do you think that the kind of reliance that Spurs have on Harry Kane at the moment, that is also reflected by the reliance that England have on Harry Kane at the moment, is going to have an impact later in the season? Because we were talking about this a little bit earlier, actually, the fact that he has to kind of go to the well for his country and his club repeatedly, and has done now actually for years and years and years. Are you confident that whatever happens at the World Cup, come March, April time next year, when you could be in, who knows, cup finals, big games in the Champions League, games that could decide the league title, that he's going to have the kind of the energy and the desire to kind of do what he has to do for Spurs?
It's a good question, because when you look at how many minutes Harry Kane has played in a Spurs shirt this season. It's pretty much every minute.
Yeah.
And he is going to be tired. The games are coming thick and fast. You know, me even as a fan, travelling to these grounds every 3 days, it's tiring. It's exhausting. And I'm not playing the matches. Harry Kane is. It is exhausting for him. And, of course, the World Cup is coming up as well. But he loves to play. He wants to play every single minute in a Spurs shirt. And he loves the big games. And hopefully tomorrow night he will rise to the big occasion again. And hopefully he can do the same for England. But Harry Kane has so much desire that he wants to be playing in all of the big games, you know, for Tottenham and for England. So he will always want to be there. We've been unfortunate that, you know, Kulusevski and Richarlison have had injuries where, you know, perhaps Harry Kane and Heung-min Son would have been rested, you know, in some of these games. And it is unfortunate as well that we had the VAR decision last Wednesday against Sporting because the job would have been done. So perhaps the starting 11 would have been very different to what it will be now.
Chris, how's it going to go tomorrow in the Velodrome? Because look, let's be fair, they gave you a good test when they came to Tottenham at the start of the Champions League campaign.
It will be a very difficult game. I'm a very confident Tottenham fan. I'm hoping that we can get the job done. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I just think that we've got to give absolutely everything in that game. Antonio Conte rested a number of key players in the Bournemouth game, but of course we got the job done and got the 3 points there. But there will be a number of changes. But I do have belief that we can get the job done, go through, and we will all be smiling.
Brilliant stuff, Chris. Appreciate your time, pal. Chris Cowlin, their Spurs fan, out in France ahead of Tottenham's game tomorrow. They take on Marseille in the Champions League. Let's dive back into the EFL. And there were dramatic scenes at the Valley on Saturday with